Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Exorcist Season 2, Episode 2. It's called Safe as Houses. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. Well, I would make peace, first of all, that this is probably going to be the last season, given the numbers for the first episode last week, which I don't have them at hand, but they were the lowest the show had ever had, so I'd maybe...
It's kind of a shame, because I'm enjoying all the priestly adventures.
Yes. Because we were actually we weren't sure it was going to come back at all this year, and then it did. So the fact that it's now doing even worse, I would make peace. But this is probably going to be the end of the journey.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's good. I mean, season 1 ended in a pretty sort of nicely wrapped up way, so I'd imagine season 2 would as well. And
Yeah, for the most part.
so what do we have in this episode? Obviously, we have the furthering of the two main plots that we've got going, but we add in a third one. The badass Father Bennett is back on the scene. He's back at headquarters, the Vatican. So I think it was the Vatican.
It was the Vatican. When it opened with the shots of the Vatican, I was like, "Oh, hello!" And then you see Bennett, and I'm like, "Yes, I'm in."
And he's got one ally who believes that there's been infiltrations of the church, that there's demonic possessions that have integrated with people, and not the Chancellor, So go on, tell me.
No, I want to have a couple more guesses.
I don't know, the higher ranking guy, the
Cardinal.
There you go. Cardinal.
I wanted to have fun with that, and you just ruined it.
What fun! I had nowhere to go.
I know, but I wanted to see you guess other words.
I had no other guesses. I knew it began with a C, so I just ran out of options.
You ran out of words beginning with C after one.
That would work for someone in this position in the church, yes. It's like I was going to say carrot.
You could have done.
The candle? No. At least Chancellor's a word you would call someone. It's a position.
That's true.
God damn it. Anyway, so the Cardinal, who we saw last season, tried to suffocate him and put him in a room and slit his wrists, as Bennett reminds us, which I'm glad they did, because I don't know if I'd have remembered that it was him specifically, but...
I wouldn't remember it was him. I remember the situation pretty well,
oh, yeah,
that's when he went badass.
Yeah, I remember him and Marcus being in the room with the slit wrists, so that was a pretty dire situation last season. So this actually felt a lot more connected to season 1, because there was a lot more references to all the the Morning Star stuff and all that conspiracy.
Papal assassination.
The Pope assassination attempts and all that. And so the Cardinal comes in and he's all kind of arrogant and like cocky. He's like, yeah, I'll prove it to you. I'll drink some holy water. And he's just like sort of sipping it. He thinks he's all that. He really does. And he gives him this little wink just before he leaves.
It's like the most dick move possible.
It really is. But as the show goes on, we find out that Bennett, no one's basically listening to him. The church has stopped all exorcisms. I mean, he's leaking some to Marcus in that to go and do them sort of rogue style, but the church themselves are not approving of any. It seems to be that no, they've actually infiltrated enough that this is just not happening anymore. That they've put a stop to any of them happening, and we see that.
Can I just point out that they have an office of exorcisms. How cool is that the Vatican can have an office of exorcism? I hope that's real.
Oh,
I don't know if it is, but I want it to be.
The most interesting part of the Vatican.
I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting place.
I don't know. As someone who's not that religious, the idea that there's a room for just dealing with demonic possession is by far the most interesting thing going on in that city.
Sure, but that's not to understate the rest of it. You don't have to be religious for it to be interesting.
True. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so we see the higher ups come for Bennett's one ally. He's getting carted away. So Bennett goes on the run. He goes underground and he phones Marcus and he's like, right, destroy the SIM card to your phone. And as soon as I've hung up, right, they're on to us. I've infiltrated every part of the church. I'll find you. You don't find me. It's like, okay, he's still a badass. It's fine.
Yeah, he's got this sorted.
There's no action with him in this episode per se, but he's carrying himself like a badass. I'm glad
just the way he's doing this. He's taking control of the situation. It's like, nah, he's got this under control. It's cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting because they almost could have left all this conspiracy stuff behind. Like, given the first episode, they could have just said, no, it's just going to be these two, and they're going to run into this situation with this house and this foster family, and that could have been it. They didn't really need to do this, but clearly they've got something else planned that goes along with this. And I wonder if and how it somehow connects to the thing that's going on at the foster house. Curious.
I mean, I think it's still chance that they get there, given the ending of the episode.
It may very well be. But I just wonder, like, it's chance that our priests get there, but does the possession itself or what's going on, does that in some way have anything to do with what the conspiracy's up to?
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe.
Does it become relevant to that, or are they completely separate plots that only interlink because Bennett's going to ask for their help for something?
I feel like that's probably more likely at this stage.
I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've unleashed a demon in that location, because the idea of it preying on a bunch of innocent kids is like, it's like a full course meal for the demon.
Feeding grounds.
Yeah, I wonder. And it's isolated. It's a little island. I wonder if that's the reason for it. But so yeah, going back to the two stories we started with last week. Obviously, we've got Marcus and Tomas, and they're dealing with Cindy, the sheriff and his cronies. Have got them tied up, and they don't believe a word they're saying to them. They try and convince. Marcus is still pissed at Tomas for not doing what he's told not to, and sort of going inside the demon's world in her head, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not happy about it. Especially when he starts whipping out this song. He almost convinces the sheriff, because he has these memories. He's like, this location, this church, this song. Like, he pinpoints these things that he couldn't possibly know unless she at least told him. But at this present point, it's not like she's that talkative in a traditional sense. So, but when she actually goes nuts at the hospital, because that's where the sheriff and that take her. The hospital has to be evacuated because she is going apeshit, and she is going after people and whatnot. Which is when one of the cronies comes back and gets them. It's like, all right, you're coming with us now. And it's like, do you know what it reminded me of a lot? It reminded me of Ghostbusters. Where, no one believes them, they all get thrown in jail, but then shit starts going down, that the mayor gets them out, and it's like, right, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
It felt like that scene. It felt like they could have been raiding in their Exorcist mobile, which, a hearse would actually be appropriate, I guess, in this case, because they're priests.
Yeah, I guess it would.
But, well, what else? I mean, I suppose you get the Pope mobile, but that seems a bit
It
too...
is, but or just grab them the truck from last episode, come in a car chase style.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, I think they need to get their own Ecto 1, but it's like a cross inside the sensor sign wouldn't work, because that's not really their message. That's not what they're trying to send out to the world. But I don't know. Maybe it's the same ghost from Ghostbusters, but with like the cross on top of it instead.
Yeah, no, that works. I do like the idea of them being in a Pope mobile.
And the sirens. No, maybe they put the possessed person in the Pope bit. And
oh yeah, because it's like all sealed off.
And the tank, yeah, and you see the possessed person, and they'll get the sirens going, and you phone
that's good.
Is this the Exorcists? Yes, it is. Who is possessed?
Oh man, so much potential for this show.
There is potential. So they come out of the hospital, and the hospital's basically been evacuated, and they eventually find her, and she kills this one guy, and there's a lot of good, like,
looks great.
Walking through the hallways, the lights are flickering. A bit cliche, of course, because why are the lights always flickering when these scenes are going on? But they are.
I like to justify it that the demons interfere with electricity.
Oh, in this show, yeah, sure, you could say that, but I just mean a broad sense across all horror stories. There's always flickering lights.
Yeah, I try and justify every time. It's like, ghosts interfere with electricity, but it doesn't work for everything.
The amount of times I've been in a room in my life that's had a flickering light is maybe like 3 times.
Really?
Not a lot. Like, I feel like it's very rare. In that consistent, like, you'll get the odd little flicker, when there's like maybe a storm or something. But I mean, in the sense where these rooms where it's just constantly flickering.
Yeah, no, I've been in my fair share.
It's always been. I mean, it is these kind of buildings, so it's, schools and hospitals where they have the big,
Yeah,
it's.
I think the effect comes from they use the really long tube lights.
But here's the thing, though. Whenever it's happened, though, it's always just been the one tube that's doing it. It's never been the whole
Yeah, that's true.
The whole
But
room
even one
hall.
tube really gives it that effect still.
That's fair. That's fair. So they find her, and they eventually like. There's some good creepy stuff where they chase her about, but she ends up in the newborn section of the hospital with all the babies, and
Which was not evacuated.
yeah, that was my first thought. You evacuated the whole hospital, but you left all the babies. Now, to be fair, we see that there's been a nurse who was left behind with them who's been killed by
Yeah,
her.
no, I get that. Okay, you can't evacuate the babies. They're in this room for a reason.
Yes, yes, of course. And they did leave a nurse, to be fair. But I did, as soon as I saw the babies, I'm glad they showed me the nurse that was lying dead on the floor because I was like, what,
Just for some
seriously?
context,
You
yeah.
left the babies on their own? Everyone else is like, I'm getting out of Dodge, but the babies, they're staying here, they're screwed. But no, it adds this extra layer attention to the scene because she's holding, possessed Cindy's holding the baby, and the sheriff and his cronies are outside the glass window. Well, most windows are glass, but you know what I mean. They're on the other side of the window, and they're looking. It's just Marcus and Tomas come in, and they're trying to talk her down, but she's got a baby in her hand the whole time, and you know that at any point she could just snap this baby's neck.
Yeah,
Like
and it's got
that's
that extra weight because obviously the sheriff thinks that before he's going, yeah, okay, she's possessed and all this. She's just like, no, she lost a baby recently. You know, it's weighing on her mind.
as a subtext, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it really works nicely.
So it works well on that, but I think on top of that, like as much as he's seen enough to at least get the priests in, I feel like her actually threatening a baby is the point where no, we could never have handled this. There was no way that we had any hope of dealing with this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where she was slitting the guy's throat and then crawls up the wall into the ceiling was.
Sure, but like you say, that's like more close to home. It's like
Yeah,
now she's in a standoff with them. Like,
yeah, yeah.
like a day ago, he would never have believed this was going to. I mean, admittedly, I probably wouldn't have guessed she'd have slit a guy's throat either. But
Or crawled up a wall. Can we not overlook that?
well, the Krill. I mean, I could maybe do that.
Bullshit! Could you crawl up a wall?
You're right. I struggle to crawl on the floor, but that's neither here nor there. But no, it seems really really tense, and of course Tomas sings the song to calm her down, and then he is inside again, and we get inside this. It's in a church, and it's the confessional, and he inside also does the exorcism as Marcus is doing it outside, and it
Yeah.
works. They win, they beat it, and Tomas is like, and obviously there's some hints in here, like the demon tries to tell Tomas that Marcus is just jealous of the power that he has, and I don't think that's true. I think he's genuinely quite scared of this, but
I do too. Yeah,
it does bring up this interesting dynamic where will Tomas start to believe that's why he's
it's
so
the
against
seed
him
of
using
the
it.
seed of doubt has been planted.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea,
It is,
but
and it works because obviously that's what demons do best.
yeah, exactly. And then later on, when he's like, "Why are you so scared of me using this gift?" and he's like, "Why are you not?" Like that's kind of it's this idea of the polar opposites of the viewpoints, just looking
Yeah.
at the exact same thing. But I like that when Tomas says, "Oh, this was God gave this to me." He's like, "Oh, was this God's intention? Was it for you to talk to a demon?"
Yep, it's a good point.
He's so catty. I like Marcus. He's a really
I do as well.
quick thinking man.
Uh,
So after this, to get the
Tomas
phone
is
call.
easily my least favorite of the three priests. He's fine, but
Oh, he's fine, but yeah. Do you remember in
He-
season one where like a lot of his plot was just, "Oh, I'm in love with this married woman." Remember
yeah, I'm
that?
glad that's gone.
Yeah, Jessica.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't even that bad. Like,
No,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't.
that awful. It was just like, yeah, this is compared to the other two badass priests. This is really kind of boring.
I think it was just because it was obvious where it was going, what the message was going to be the whole time, with him, like, giving in to his temptations and all that. That it never like rose above anything else. Whereas the other two are very on mission. Which, to be fair, Marcus for the most part, Tomas for this most part of this season is like he's focused. He's just out there doing the exorcisms. He wants
Yeah.
to do this. I love how he says like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I was weak with Casey, but I've grown a lot since then." It's been 6 months.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, he's much better this season, but he's got a lot of catching up to do still.
Yeah. So they drive on out. They end up in the same state as the island. So we know they're getting close. That's kind of where we end.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus says, "Oh, I've got a place we can go to," and I kind of assume he's got somewhere on the island as like a safe haven.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe that old abandoned hut is his. Maybe he owns it.
Maybe he does. It just seems kind of really obvious as a way to get them to go there. They'll hide out and accidentally stumble across the family with the demon.
Which works somewhat for this show because then they can say, "Oh, this was fate that we ran into these people who need us." They can
Yeah.
talk about that, maybe destiny, all that jazz, or
I'm sure they
God,
will. It'll be
or
God's plan.
God, yeah, God guided them towards them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as the family goes, we're still not actually sure who's possessed. I mean, we were pretty convinced it was the blind kid last episode. Now I'm not so sure.
Now I'm more leaning to Rose.
Rose is a fair option. I think Shelby's a fair option as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, they're all to some extent fair game. There's not one of them that I would absolutely rule out.
No.
To give it
There's
credit,
enough for each of them.
yeah, there's just because it turns out that at least Caleb, the blind kid, he thinks that V took him out there the previous night and then left him,
Yeah.
and part of me thinks no, he's just hearing the voice. Like that's what he thinks. That's what who he thinks is talking to him, but it's not. It's actually a demon.
But
But
could it have been someone else? Pretend to be like just leading him out,
yeah, yeah, of course.
like one of the others.
So I don't know. It's very interesting. A lot of their stuff is Rose is like concerned, wants to do a report on the whole incident, thinks it's kind of unsafe, uh, and we see that I'm forgetting his name. John Cho's character. Where is he? Andrew. Andy. There you go. That's what they call him. Andy. He keeps V's name out of it when he goes to actually give the report to her or to tell her that Caleb came and spoke to me. It's this ritual because he tells the truth to an extent. There is this kind of like passage,
Yeah.
ritual that they do where they stand on the well, and he's assured that it won't happen again. But
Do you know the bit in that scene that got me, that made me think maybe Rose, because she seems to know more than she's letting on? Mm-hmm. Did you catch? She's writing her report, and she's already got most of it written before he comes in. Did you? It shows us a couple of times. Did you actually read it?
I didn't read it. I read the new bit she typed in where she said no further actions needed, but I didn't see
No.
first
In the
part.
top bit, she's already got written that it was a school ritual. Like she's already got that information that it's this ritual that they do, like a bonding exercise.
Interesting.
Andy says, "Oh, it makes them stronger," sort of thing. Like this bonding thing. She has that in her report already.
That could be a swerve. Like I'm just thinking, like maybe she's already talked to one of the other kids, and she already
It
has
could
that.
be. But
Yeah.
I was like, just that there already. It's like, okay, he's telling her this now, so it's clear that she's not supposed to know this from our perspective, at least.
Or I'd say from his perspective, she's not supposed to know it.
From his, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that was there before.
No, that's fair. I feel like that may be a swerve. I feel like that's just that's a simple case of she's already got that from someone else and she didn't tell him. She was waiting for him to actually like
See
be
if
honest.
he'd tell her. Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, but but the tension that comes between them though is we find out that his ex that he had pictures of, she committed suicide. And because she throws a dig at him, like because she thinks Caleb might be suicidal or self harm or whatever, and he she throws it back in his face by saying, "Yeah, because you're the one to see early signs of like that kind
It's
of
like we all know how good at spotting the early signs of this you are."
And naturally, this does not. And this is the first of two times he walks out of a room and the little girl Grace is just standing there.
I'm really creeped out. I don't care if she's possessed or not. She scares me.
I get the impression that because we see that this other woman was there at the foster home with them. Like this is someone the kids knew, and I think maybe this little girl's been like this ever since she died. I mean that's the impression I'd get right now. I mean maybe they'll give us more later, but that's what I'm getting. So that's all fine and well. Obviously, there's some creepy stuff at the end where he hears a noise, Andy, and he goes outside, and he sees the blood in the hand. But we'll rewind.
Yep.
We'll go back to the other thing that leads to that. So Shelby, the religious kid, he apparently he's friends with the neighbours who are farmers, and they have sheep, and he's interested in seeing one give birth. He's into that. For school or whatever, whatever he's doing with his life.
I honestly, I think it's more to do with the religious angle as well. Still,
think?
like the miracle of birth.
That's fair. But this old couple are nice and like, yeah, we're doing a birth this afternoon. Come by, and obviously I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to go well.
Yeah,
yeah. We'll see what pops out, and sure enough, things start to go wrong, and it's a very sort of icky sequence of. It comes out and it's got the sort of the cover over it. What do you call
I don't know what you call it.
It has to break out of its little bubble thing. I don't know what you call it, the correct medical term for it. But it breaks out, but it's demonic. And of course, I've never actually seen a sheep be born before, so I'm like, Right, this isn't right? This is wrong.
It just looks wrong.
Yeah, this is demonic. It looks diseased and evil. And
It's
sure
all, like,
enough,
twisted, isn't it?
the farmer's like, yeah, okay, it's time for the pitchfork. And I'm like, oh man, yeah. Straight in there.
Yeah.
So, no, very disturbing scene. But then at the end, he seems to have a hold of it. Because we see him like, reading his Bible in the woods like as he goes through. And then at the end, he's put the blood of the sheep on the door because it will protect them.
Yeah.
And he's holding this baby sheep, this little lamb, in his arms. And it's like, okay, so it didn't die? Like, what exactly is going on here? Did he save it? Did he stop them from killing it?
I mean, even if it does die, I mean, he's smearing lamb's blood all over the house. So maybe it's like, okay, I'm just going to use it.
Yeah. Obviously, the final thing he says is that there's something in the woods. And, you know, maybe it is that simple right now. Maybe no one's actually possessed right now. Maybe there is just a demon.
Maybe. That'd be an interesting swerve, actually, if none of them are possessed. And maybe the priests get there and think, okay, it must be in one of them. And they're kind of doing what we're doing now, kind of going through them all, trying to figure it out. Maybe, it turns out it's none of them.
Yeah, maybe it did speak to Caleb, but that's all it's doing right now is speaking to some of them. It's not actually possessing anyone. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
But it's a cool idea. I just want to mention there's a scene where Caleb goes to eat an apple. And Joe, it's funny. Before he started eating the apple, I went, you know what? That's probably the thing I'd hate the most about being blind is that the idea of not being able to check my food before I put it in my mouth would really disturb me. And sure enough, he bites into the apple and there's like worms and shit in it.
Maggots. It's all rotten. Which,
by the way, I'm probably not having an apple for at least a month after that scene. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'll have one right now. No problem for me.
Oh no! It's specifically that type of thing, worms and maggots in food that. Nah.
It's really hard to put me off food.
No, that puts me off food. That particular thing puts me off food.
While I'm watching, I'm like, ugh. But then it's like, yeah, I can eat right now.
Like, seeing like a scene where someone's getting like decapitated and there's blood spurting everywhere, I can sit and eat during that. I don't care.
But if it's actually food related,
yeah. If it's actually something in food and someone's putting it in their mouth, that's where I'm drawing a line and I'm like, nah.
Fair enough.
I'm off that. I'm off whatever the item was for a while. Luckily, sometimes it's something I don't like anyway, and I'm
apples. It's like, who cares about that healthy shit? It's when they do it to something. It's when they do it to something like donuts that it hurts.
Sure. Yeah. I like apples though.
They're not bad.
Yeah. Do it in a shitty fruit. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I never just have melons, so yeah, do it in a melon. Whatever.
Bananas. It's like the only fruit I don't like. Still a banana.
I like a banana. That's nice. Yeah, so I just that scene kind of stood out a little bit because it was just it was nothing super horrific's happening to this house yet, but it was just these little things.
Like, okay, and it's easily explainable still. Like, okay, the apple's rotten, and he didn't see it.
And even well, obviously, even Shelby, like he could just be a bit paranoid, and he's like, there's something in the woods, and he's just smearing blood. Like,
he's seen this lamb being born deformed, and he's kind of jumped to conclusions.
Here's what I wonder, actually. I wonder if Marcus and Tomas will... they won't actually go to the house because they hear something's wrong. They'll just be nearby, and they'll actually come over and just be friendly. Like they'll just sort of run into each other, and they'll sort of say hi to everyone, and maybe they'll be invited over for dinner, and something slightly weird will happen, and they'll be right at office, so some of the kids are acting weird, but they'll be like, something else is afoot.
Yeah.
Something is afoot.
See it. So. I'm looking for, I think I enjoyed it more in the first episode. This episode, I felt like this plot was kind of just, I'm waiting for it to get going now.
Yeah, well, I think because we wrapped up the other plot with the priests, that we're getting to it next episode now.
I think so, and I'm glad for that, because I feel like that was, it to me at least in this episode, all the priest stuff was much better, more interesting. Yeah. This stuff, it wasn't bad. It's fine.
But I think that's why you have them have this subplot in the first 2 episodes. It gives you the actual Exorcist action that you're craving, whilst also setting up the other things a bit slower, so you're not just rushing it.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I enjoyed it more in the first one when it was all new. There was more stuff going on. This felt like, okay, there's a little bit more, but there wasn't that much more compared to last week.
That's fair.
So, but I'm looking forward to them converging and getting the priests on the island. That's when the season really begins, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. There you go. That is episode 2 of this season of Exorcist. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there, but otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?